Alright, so this one's gonna be a little bit different for you guys. I want to apologize in advance. I don't have the time to go crazy with the editing on this. It's gonna be really simplistic. Next video will actually be back to our regularly scheduled, masterful, beautiful editing. On this one, please try to excuse me on this. Right now, I do not have the time to put crazy editing into a half-hour video. But yeah, other than that, guys, enjoy. Alright, what's up, everybody? Today, I have a treat for everybody. I wanted to bring in the heavy hitters from comics versus one of the heaviest hitters from anime. We're doing Gojo versus Superman. And it's going to be very honest scaling all throughout. And today I have with me the premier DC scaler, premier DC wanker, the way he scales Superman sometimes, but he is going to be honest throughout this video. I have Jester. Jester, would you like to say hi?
Yo, I'm a completely honest Superman scaler. No wanks. All honesty here, guys.
Y'all can't tell, but he said that with a straight face, and that's astounding. So, the way we want to do this is that we are going to have basically the main forms of Superman. We're going to be looking at pre-New 52, New 52 Superman, Rebirth Superman, and then CAS Superman. We'll explain what that is later. And first we're going to go with a more honest scale of Gojo versus all of them. And then at the end, I'm going to be going crazy with Wank just to see if there's an argument for Gojo just soloing, no diffing, laughing at all of them and mopping them up. So to start, we kind of want to go over the Gojo scaling. And I guess the best place to start would be speed, of course. We have him at MFTL speeds for a few reasons. Partially because of his 6 eyes ability, and most of his abilities actually scale off of his reaction speed. We know this for a few reasons, obviously, like his teleportation is just reaction speed. Think of like Minato and his flying Raijin. He just needs to, obviously think about it to make it happen. Similarly with his red and blue abilities. So we have MFTL for reaction speeds for a few reasons. Number one, I'm going to put the feat on screen here. We have him thinking through all possibilities of 3 years worth of information, right? 3 years worth of life and all possibilities surrounding it in a single quote-unquote instant. I like to lowball it and say instant. We'll just say it is 1 second instead of an instant just being instantaneous, So when you start scaling stuff like that, you have to start figuring out how fast can a human mind think, but you also have to take into account the fact that he's thinking of all possibilities surrounding 3 years of information, right? So in that case, you can end up going through all sorts of calcs, but realistically, I'll put the calc on screen for you guys as well. This actually puts his mental processing speed much higher than a normal human's. A normal human's mental processing, it should be about the speed of lightning. Now, the speed of lightning, I mean, you can go through and scale that as well, but I'm just going to leave the calc on screen for you guys, so, I'm not rambling too much with the nerd shit. This basically puts Gojo at about 25 trillion miles per hour in mental processing speed. This is massively faster than light, because light only travels at about 669 million miles per hour. Gojo moving at 25 trillion miles per hour, massively faster than light. So, speed, MFTL, when we're talking AP, it does somewhat vary. So if he actually just hits you, it's super inconsistent as to how strong his strikes are. And part of this is because he's messing around, he's trying not to kill some of the opponents he's fighting before he can get certain things. For example, in the One Finger Sukuna fight, he's trying not to kill Yuji, even though it appears he absolutely could, especially knowing what we do now about how Gojo's abilities work. His AP probably comes out more when he's actually using his abilities like red and blue. Red being essentially the creation of new space, right? A new infinity around a certain area. And think of like almighty push. So he can basically push people, get them further away from him, or even just propel them, launch them. with crazy AP by bringing new space into existence. That's what red is. Blue's the opposite. He basically creates impossible scenarios using a combination of his six eyes processing and his reality warping, basically, to, I guess, bring in negative space into existence to pull things in. To resist this, you basically need infinite 3D attack potency or durability. You also have to contend with something called hollow purple. Hollow purple is existence erasure, and it specifically works by manipulating a certain law of reality, a physical law of nature, in that he brings imaginary mass into existence, and if imaginary mass were to come into contact with non-imaginary mass, it would simply erase it as a law of reality. To give you a point of reference, again, this is going to be just basically infinite 3D attack potency with this existence erasure, his red and his blue, right? Gojo also has pretty great healing. Nothing like a Deadpool level or anything crazy like that. He can have his throat cut, be stabbed in the throat, stabbed in the brain, and he can get up from it. He can regrow organs. These normal types of injuries or things that would actually kill pretty much anyone else, they're not a problem for him. So aside from his healing factor, we also have a barrier. His barrier doesn't work like a conventional barrier that you can just get through with attack potency. His barrier is another manipulation of a law of reality, a law of physics, in that when you approach Gojo, you have to pass halfway points, and it's an exaggeration of a certain law of reality, in that as you close the distance between you and an object, you have to pass the halfway points between you and that object. With Gojo exaggerating this, he's basically putting infinite halfway points between himself and whatever's coming at him, meaning that you actually have to get through this with speed, not power. To get through this, you need either infinite speed or something higher, and that's how you would end up getting through this barrier. As far as Immeasurable Void, his domain expansion, you would have to have mental processing beyond infinite, because it's inside of his Immeasurable Void, you're going to be facing basically different or higher and higher degrees of infinity. So you will have to be forced to process an infinite series of events, and you have to infinitely process each aspect of that. So instead of processing, like, let's say it's a word, let's say he wants you to infinitely process apple, you're not only processing that infinite times, you're infinitely processing each aspect of that thing. So the letter A would be infinitely processing, and then the next A would be infinitely processing, and then all aspects of that apple would be infinitely processing in your brain. So you need insane mental processing to just survive this void long enough to, or not long enough, well enough to where your body doesn't stall out and you die, or he just decides to rip your head off, which appears to be his preferred method of taking out his opponents. So now that we have Gojo out of the way, let's talk to Jester about, pre-New 52 Superman. How do you think he does, Jester?
Well, we have to look at a couple of things here. First, I'd like to establish some speed for pre-New 52 Superman, and for context, pre-New 52, it would be post-Crisis and Silver Age Superman feats. Since, they are relative, we could put those feats on the screen right there, 2 panels of them just beating the brakes off each other. And then now let's establish a couple feats that we've seen from pre-Crisis Superman. And the first one is casually being able to fly through time. And if everybody doesn't know what that is, that's immeasurable speed. And immeasurable speed is basically when you're going so fast that your speed is undefinable by the speed equation. You can't quantify how fast you're going there. And so that's one big problem there. And we see Superboy consistently being so strong to force people through the time stream. And again, Superman verbatim saying that he's gonna break through the barrier of time with his speed. Some simple stuff. And then we go from that, and then if we're gonna talk about some AP, pre-Crisis Superman. No, pre-New 52 Superman, my bad. Yeah, pre-New 52 Superman has been shown to consistently throw hands with Darkseid and and most of their fights beat the brakes off of him so bad. And in one instance, he beats Darkseid so bad to the point where his eyes are swollen up and he cannot see out of them anymore. So, and for example, let's go into what Darkseid scaling is. Darkseid is a being from the Spear of the Gods. In the Spear of the Gods, it's said to be a place beyond any measure of space and time. And we know these entities from the Spear of the Gods are living embodiments of concepts, able to really destroy universes if they wanted to. They could do whatever they want. These are out-of-versal beings, perfect forms. And if you don't know what out-of-versal is, it's basically beings who are beyond the concept of space and time. So all this is, at the end of the day, is just a pre-New 52 Superman being so strong, able to beat people casually who transcend concepts of space and time, and being able to move through time with no problems. So that's the strength of just our earlier Superman. I think it's pretty ridiculous.
It is ridiculous because you have like some of the craziest feats in all of fiction going to Superman, because obviously he's the hype boy. He's the actual mascot of DC, which is weird because it should be Batman, but I won't talk about that.
Don't know about that.
Now we have this Superman probably beating Gojo. Let's get that off the top. Gojo's not ready to fight something like this, and it shouldn't be surprising to anyone because this is one of the stronger forms of Superman at the end of the day. So the author of JJK, and the name's Gege for those that don't know the author of JJK, did not intend for Gojo to fight basically one of the strongest things in comics. So this shouldn't be surprising to anybody. Not only is he one of the strongest things in comics, we're using one of his strongest forms. So yeah, Gojo's got nothing on this Superman. He loses, he gets blitzed. He probably won't even get a hit in on this Superman. I'm gonna keep it a buck. Now, moving on to a slightly more reasonable Superman. With New 52, he doesn't have as crazy of feats for the most part. He does have some decent scaling that me and Jester went over before this. He's not quite as drippy as Gojo, but Jester, would you like to explain exactly how strong New 52 is?
So yeah, New 52 Superman basically doesn't have these crazy feats that the other Supermen do. You'll see the other one afterwards, but post-Crisis is basically the one with the more bizarre, I'm just super strong, I'm a super archetypal beast type feats.
Yeah.
And then
this Superman is
more of like, yeah.
You can kind of tell, like, with New 52, I feel like they weren't fully thinking it through, like, in a lot of cases, especially power scaling, because I don't think power scaling was as big when New 52 started. So I don't think, and they really weren't thinking a lot of, like, the power cliffing that was going to happen. I don't think they planned it out super crazy, because if I remember correctly, I think New 52 is actually started, like, basically, if you go off Darkseid War and you call that the starting point, it's supposed to be that, like, you're supposed to forget, like, everything that happened in these comics leading up to this, and then that even gets retconned later to fit other stuff so they can fix certain plot holes, I think, because they were like, oh yeah, this happened because of, like, the Flashpoint event, so everyone lost, like, 10 years of memory or something like that. So it seems to me that, like, they didn't think this one all the way through, and I think that's why we see, like, a lot more, like, bizarre feats. Like, I don't know. That's just me, though. Not to come at all the comic fans of, New 52.
It's all good. New 52 I felt was more story oriented after the reboot. They had to change a lot of things about DC. But specifically, the really only, like, real AP feats that we have is, like, Superman scaling or being able to hurt the Rebirth Superman and punch him away and, like, basically KO him. But then we also know that Superman's, like, initial feat at that point in the storyline anywhere, that's a time displaced Superman. So that's the Superman that existed, or a Superman that got displaced from time after his fight with Darkseid. Not with Darkseid, my bad. After his fight with Doomsday. And if you guys don't know, the first initial fight with Doomsday, when he has his, like, cape broken up, flowing in the wind, after he killed himself, he sacrificed his own life to save everybody. But when, plot hole, he comes back to life in a black suit. So but this Superman specifically is just time displaced, so he is post-crisis technically, right? But also, you know, from another time. So that's how much we can establish. He scales to a dark side. I mean, he scales to a doomsday, and that's not really quantifiable. Maybe like multi-planet level, like at most I could say for that doomsday, to be very serious with you.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty much where New 52 Superman scales.
Yeah. So as far as durability, he probably, I think he doesn't have the durability to I guess resist a lot of what Gojo's gonna do. So one thing we've seen Gojo do is use his red and blue to like crush like people by creating new space like around their limbs and stuff. And you would need like beyond infinite 3D attack potency and durability to resist your limbs getting crushed by new space being created on top of you.
I don't think he's consistent to Universal either to be able to stop that. So
yeah,
I mean, that's why. Yeah, I'd have to give him. If we both established that, you know, they're infinite. I mean, he is faster, but I don't know if we're saying Gojo's AP is this certain AP. There's not really much he can do, to be very serious with you. And then at the end of the day, but yeah, we might have to give New 52 that L. If I'm being straight honest, no amps, no sun dips, no hope amps, no story of Superman. Just him playing bass consistently. You know, it's just tough. But I do want to talk about what probably is my favorite Superman, and it's Rebirth Superman. So
wait, before you go off and hurt my man Gojo, I will say that this is an interesting one between New 52 Superman and Gojo, because he might have the speed advantage, legitimately, if you're being honest about the scaling with Gojo. There's a small issue of the AP and durability, so this might actually go to Gojo, mostly because you have somebody who, number one, can resist his own attacks. Hold on one sec. My bad, my dog is barking up a storm outside. So, I'm going to start from the top on that one, too. So, it's really interesting when you have New 52 and Gojo, because you end up, like, seeing, like, the speed difference. And in a lot of cases, when you can blitz, you kind of have to just have to hold the L. Because if you can't hit the other character, it doesn't matter. However, the problem here is that you end up potentially with a battle of attrition with New 52 Superman and Gojo, which Gojo and Superman have crazy stamina. I think we should explore that, because Gojo effectively has infinite stamina, whereas Superman, well, I'll let you speak on that one, Mr. Jester. How do you feel about New 52 stamina?
New 52 stamina?
Yeah.
I mean, I think he has quite a bit, since he's been able to fight in like War Worlds. He's been able to like go off with like Lobo. He's fought like Mongol. If y'all know who like Mongol's like this crazy warrior. Like, he would fight for like days on end.
Yep. And
let's be serious here. To fly for 60 days across infinity, I think that's a good stamina feat, if y'all don't think so. Be serious here.
I think so too. So I actually think New 52 Superman, it's hard for me to say this, but I do think Gojo takes it in the battle of attrition. The biggest reason being it's the fact that we don't see like Gojo ever getting tired, because when you have effectively infinite stamina, in theory, Gojo could just fight Superman forever. With New 52,
it's worse.
What's up?
Worse.
Yeah,
I think it's even worse because it took him 60 days to get across infinity. So if we're talking about it like realistically, it's not like he just crossed infinite distances right away. If he's gonna just be there for 60 days until he can touch Gojo, no, he's gonna get shot with like an imaginary mask. He's gonna die. Like, that's just dumb.
Yeah, so it's really bad for New 52. He's unironically my favorite Superman. So so he is in fact my favorite. So I don't like that he loses to Gojo, but he actually does. In the battle of attrition, he would lose, and to cross what is effectively an infinite series of events, making it an infinite space, if we're being fair, it would take him 60 days, and he's not making it 60 days without getting shot by one of those hollow purples, or just wearing himself out. because at the end of the day, Gojo can just keep that barrier up passively and keep fighting indefinitely. Partially due to his reverse curse technique, refreshing himself on top of his special brand of cursed energy. Limitless obviously being the appropriate name. So yeah, New 52 actually takes the L on this one, unfortunately. Now I know we need to go over Jester's favorite, Rebirth Superman.
All right, I want to get it from the get-go. No wank. Superman is shown here scaling over Black Racer in speed. Black Racer literally chased the Flashes through time. So let's keep it a buck here. That's an instant immeasurable speed feat, so we already know he's getting past that infinity barrier with no problems, with like literally no difficulty. And this same Superman has merged himself with like the previous New 52 Superman, and it became like some amalgamation. But keep in mind, at the same time that he's Rebirth, he's also post-crisis Superman, and man, he's pretty like insane with like all these feats. He has anti-existence erasure. He just resisted Mr. Mxyzptlk being able to knock him out of existence.
Yeah.
And he's actively able to fight him with just hope. So like, at the end of the day, if we're in a battle and Gojo tries to erase somebody who could tank reality warping attacks from, you know, Mr. Mxyzptlk, I don't think it's gonna be really pretty in this situation, because at the same time, while I believe that's like an AP feat and like an anti-existence erasure feat, because this is based on like Mr. Mxyzptlk's like magical power, like Gojo can't do anything to erase him from existence nor really damage him, and he's getting through the infinity barrier right away, like literally before anybody could even perceive him. So this is just a super stomp matchup. This is like the most spite part of the, you know, the fight right here. So New 52 loses, pre 52 wins, and Rebirth wins. I think that's establishable here.
Yeah, I think that's super fair because Rebirth does have some craziness. And then Mix, like, I think it's important to talk about Mix here. For those of you that don't know, Mix is like a fifth dimensional reality warper. So when we're talking about Gojo, it's arguable that he's reality warping, and he kind of is because he's manipulating the natural laws of reality, but he's not doing it on the scale that Mr. Mix is, right?
You want me to explain?
Yeah, absolutely. I love that.
Mr. Mxyzptlk is a super ape. And so you heard what No Luck did? He said fifth dimensional. Y'all might be thinking about like the regular geometrical like fifth dimension. No. Fifth dimension in this context is like DC. A fifth layer of reality. In the context of DC, it's just like this plane of existence that's beyond even the sphere of gods. This guy's existence is fifth dimensional, which means his existence is beyond any measure of space and time. And it's stated multiple times. And he's also stated that he's one with every single version of himself outside of even the canonicity of DC, even the one in our minds. So exactly. It's getting like, yeah, it's really bad. This guy's like a, you know, out-of-versal reality warper, super ape, you know.
Yeah, and it's really important to compare the kinds of reality warping, because as Kendrick Lamar said, there's levels to this shit, and like Mix is on a level that's beyond anything Gojo can even figure out. Like if Gojo went into the fifth dimension with his Six Eyes ability, he actually wouldn't be able to process it, and this is a problem because Gojo's reality warping is warping the natural laws of reality on his scale, not on DC's ridiculous like fifth dimensional nonsense. Like this is not even close. We're talking dimensional degrees above what Gojo can even comprehend, let alone manipulate or reality warp at all. So we're not looking at anything close to what Gojo's capable of. And Superman's throwing hands. This is the level Superman's at, and Gojo can't even comprehend that level. So this is a pretty bad stomp if we're using fair scaling for Gojo. But keep in mind, I'm wanking at the end of this, so we're gonna have to revisit. No.
Oh, can we get to cast now?
Yep, we are on. So for those of you that don't know, the undisputed ultra heavyweight of DC is CAS, Cosmic Armor Superman, Thought Robot. This man, oh my goodness. Jester, go ahead, take it away, because I'm going to lose my mind.
So, Cosmic Armor Superman, or the Thought Bot, is this entity that was created in the Monosphere, and it shares the consciousness between Ultraman and Superman. So they both got their consciousnesses fused inside this robot that was just already sitting there waiting for them, built by the monitors to combat this ultimate evil, or like this ultimate pinnacle of evil in the verse called Mandrake. And what Mandrake was doing was basically warping the plot so that he'd win. He puts them inside of a self-assembling hyperstory. But what he failed to realize is that cast was made up of the narratives of every story, hero, and life in DC. So he's made up of the narratives of basically everybody. And so if he's made up of the narratives of basically everybody, this guy's getting put in a self-assembling hyperstory. So they're just both plot hacking each other to fulfill their goals. And at the end of the day, he beats Mandrake, or he saves the day and fulfills his goal by, you know, rearranging the plot and just doing all this craziness. And this is why this character is so strong. The fact that his archetype is that Superman will always save the day, it literally changes the setting to make it so Superman will save the day no matter what, and there's nothing you can do about it, to be serious.
Yep. I mean, what do you even say to that? At the end of the day, there's nothing that Gojo has on that kind of ridiculousness, right? Because if you're looking at this again fairly, without my wank arguments, dude, there's nothing. I don't think there's anything really in anime that touches this. Like, Gojo's one of the heavy hitters, and Gojo would like lose before this fight's basically started. Like, the setting of their fight would naturally entail Superman winning this. There's him, by Gojo entering this fight, he's basically entering a story in which he loses. There's no way around that. There's no two ways about like whether he might do X, Y, and Z and potentially pull off a dub. No, I'm sorry. Zero chance. Negative chance that he wins. So passively, CAS Superman takes this dub. This is one of the worst matchups I could possibly imagine for Gojo. It's so bad. Now, let's talk. Let's let me out to play for a sec. So let's let me out to play for a sec. You know. So, okay, we have Gojo scaled fairly here. MFTL, Infinite 3D, you know, that kind of deal. We actually talked about this a little bit. So if we wank Gojo, if I really get to go off, so we have him moving in a place where time does not flow. Basically moving in a timeless void. We can say it's infinite, we can say it's immeasurable. Since I'm wanking, we're going to call it immeasurable, right? Since he is creating new reality and new space around people, manipulating the very laws of nature, we're actually going to put him at hyperversal, right? High hyperversal. The reason we can put him at high hyperversal or even omniversal is because each of these verses would be subject to having their own physical laws manipulated, because they would have physical laws. That being said, this would end up putting him well above even pre-crisis, or not pre-crisis, pre-New 52, right? Because the speed difference is no longer there. Therefore, Gojo can tag him with attacks. His Hollow Purple would be hyperversal to omniversal, putting him above New 52. Or pre-New 52, Gojo with fair scaling beats, New 52 straight up. Now, Rebirth's a little bit different. So Jester, yeah. So Rebirth's a little bit different. Jester, how do you feel about my wank scaling? We're talking immeasurable Gojo, we're talking hyperversal, and we're talking manipulating the laws of physics. Meaning that he can manipulate laws that the harder you punch, the more damage it does to you, or instead of equal and opposite reactions to your own attacks, you take double the reaction of whatever damage or power you output. Therefore, Superman's hurting himself twice as much as whatever he's hitting. So,
I mean,
this
that's
kind
a
of
nasty wank.
Yep.
But
we going crazy.
But we try to say if we could wank him to try to fight Cass, and we just realize what Cass is. We just have to move him out the equation. And
Well,
now
we don't
have
want
to
to. We don't want to go for Kaz. Just Rebirth. Just
see-
Rebirth.
Is
How
the
do you?
Wank enough to fight Rebirth? I don't think so. Because he has like a hyper-versatile character, like with a crazily like nasty Wank. And my character was like casually like committing like out-of-versal feats just by hacks tanking reality warpers. So
Yeah.
no, I don't think there's much he can really do there. And like, speed difference.
Exactly. So this is where it gets very, very sad for Gojo, because even with my crazy wanks, even if he starts doing hacks like what I'm talking about, like Superman takes double the damage that he outputs, it doesn't really matter because he can tank these kinds of hacks. They might not even work on him, right? Rebirth is just insane, dude. CAS, I mean, not to spoil it for y'all, it's still the same problem. Because Gojo doesn't have the same kind of, like, narrative control. He doesn't have the ability to change the actual course of the story to basically auto-win. CAS is just an auto-win against Gojo, even with my most ridiculous wank arguments. Like, CAS kind of takes it, Rebirth takes it, no matter what you do with Gojo. So, yeah, I think we've thoroughly ratted out enough. I've brought out probably the most egregious, disgusting wanks of Gojo I ever have publicly. But yeah, that's pretty much how it goes, guys. New 52 Superman and Gojo are probably they're the closest match, realistically, if you're fair to everybody. If you're wanking, you can maybe get them above pre-New 52, but Rebirth and CAS, they're different animals. There's nothing you can argue to make Gojo beat them. Trust me, if there was, I would. Much to Jester's aggravation, I would definitely if I could, but there's just no argument for him beating those last two. So, yeah, Jester, did you have any final words for the wonderful people out there?
All I have to say to close out the video, Nolak is easily one of the best debaters, but that doesn't stop him from being the most dishonest one.
What?
I'm the most honest debater. Join D+, and that's all I gotta say, guys.
Hell yeah. So, yeah, make sure y'all support the homie Jester. He's going to be on a lot more. Let me know if you like having Jester on, if you like comics. Gojo, I've done so much Gojo. I think I'm going to switch it up a little bit more. Do some other characters, some other verses. I really want to do Chainsaw Man. And, yeah, if you want to see Jester come back on, leave a like real quick, a comment. I always love comments. Leave memes. I love memes. But one way or another, we're gonna see more of this, one way or another. So, all that being said, guys, be safe. Take it easy. I don't know why I left the call like that was gonna end the recording. Like, I'm dumb as hell.
Way too funny. I was so